everyone, welcome back to my channel and to this next episode of Depression Help. Straighten the camera a bit. Hope you're doing okay or good. If there's a reflection in the camera. I hope you're doing okay or you're good or great or but yeah, at least okay. So I thought in this episode I would talk about motivation. Sorry, my voice is a bit rough. It's always rough in the morning and it's still it's back 11, but anyway, motivation. So I'm calling this episode Motivation is a Luxury, and I think that's very much the truth. I think if you have depression and you wait to feel motivated to do things, you're definitely not going to be able to do what you'd like to do, or anywhere near as much as you'd like to do. And it's okay to not do as much as you'd like to do. I never managed to do as much as I'd like to do, but part of the reason for that is that when I'm scheduling what I would like to do, I obviously think that I must be Superman or something because it's nuts. And when I feel as though I haven't done as much as I want, and I talked to somebody else about what I did that day, they're like, how on earth did you manage to do all that? So it's good to kind of have perspective, and sometimes that involves kind of chatting to other people. So motivation, you've got Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is so he was a famous psychologist, and that was his way of explaining human motivation now, or a theory of motivation. Everything in psychology is a theory, nothing's proven, which was the frustrating thing about studying it. You always had to say this indicates that or suggests that. You couldn't ever say anything was proven, but I understand why. So that's a theory that's accepted by some, questioned by others, but there's no harm in having a look at it. The idea is that you have to satisfy one level before you can move up to the next level. I don't think it's quite as straightforward as that. Maybe Maslow didn't either, but for me to break it down to be really simple, in a way that's probably helpful to people who aren't going to feel like sitting down and studying Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is to say that motivation, for me, my understanding is a motivation comes through inspiration or desperation. So I think those are the two main motivators. That's my point of view. So what do I mean by that? Well, in most cases, if you don't have what you need to cover your basic needs, so obviously you need shelter, you need food, you need money for necessities, etc., etc., etc. If you don't have what you need to cover your basic needs, then under normal circumstances, you would be highly motivated to cater to them. So if you didn't know, where you were going to get your next meal from, under normal circumstances, you'd be highly motivated to figure it out. And you'd be more motivated to go and make £5 or find £5 to get money for food than you would be to make £5 if you had £5 sitting in the bank and you really didn't need to worry about where your next £5 for food was coming from. So I hope that's like a simple way of explaining it. So that's kind of necessity. So if you or desperation. So if you have a desperate need for something, then under normal circumstances, you're going to be motivated to do something about it. Okay. The other main motivator, as I see it, is inspiration. And inspiration is a great thing. And for me, inspiration comes through setting targets, having goals, having visions, not like cookie visions, but like, having a vision of something that you want to achieve. Some people find visualization helpful. So you could think about something that you would really like. Maybe that's going on holiday, maybe that's getting a new car, maybe that's seeing yourself in a good situation with someone. It could be anything really that you would like to see in your life. And some people find it helpful to practice visualization, which is basically just where you kind of close your eyes and visualize it. And you might do that every day as a way of kind of programming your subconscious towards reaching that goal. So inspiration, yeah, for me, targets. So I set myself targets, and mainly at the minute, business related targets, and they are financial targets. I talk about them in The Rookie Entrepreneur, so I'm not going to go into detail here because it's not about that. But that is one of the ways that I motivate myself to do work. So if if I didn't do that, then according to my understanding that one of the motivators is desperation, then I probably wouldn't be motivated to do more than I have to do to cover my bills and maybe some of my wants. And then I wouldn't be motivated to do more than that because I would be satisfied. So the desperation would be satisfied. Whereas if I set an audacious goal, like I want to become a philanthropist, which is my audacious goal, and I realize it's a crazy goal, and I don't think that's a bad thing, then that means that I need to set the bar really high as to what I want to achieve, and I need to be inspired to achieve that goal, and that creates motivation. And I also think that motivation is a luxury. So when you feel motivated, it's great and it's really easy to do everything, as you know. And one of the major differences between people who struggle with depression and people who don't is that people who don't really understand this because they have more motivation than a depressed person, basically. So stuff that we find really difficult to do, they might not really understand why you struggle with that, because for them it's easy because they have more motivation. So the thing is that the reason why I say motivation is a luxury is that if you decide you're going to wait till you feel motivated to do something that you need or want to do, then you might be waiting for a long time. And sometimes if you can dig deep and make yourself do something, then once you start doing it, you might actually feel motivated, and you should certainly feel some rewards, and like feeling the reward of your efforts, which might just be, like I've talked about in the past, writing down on your list of what you've done today. You feel like you've got a sense of accomplishment, sorry, rather than reward, a sense of accomplishment. So, and having a sense of accomplishment can help you to feel motivated. That's why I find that when you're really struggling to do anything, or when you're struggling to do as much as you like to do, just making a list of things that you've done so you can see, oh look, I've accomplished that, I've achieved that, and it kind of makes you want to achieve more, and that's like a kind of seed for motivation. So I think that from my point of view, it doesn't really matter whether I feel motivated or not. I just do it, and it's a lot easier when I feel motivated. And when I feel motivated, I can achieve an awful lot more in a short period of time. And it's brilliant. I love it. But I regard it as a luxury because things still need to get done. I still want to achieve things. So basically, I'm trying really hard all the time. And when I feel motivated, I'll achieve more with that effort than I will when I don't feel motivated. But the point is still always making the effort, and also being kind to yourself if you're not managing to do everything that you would want to do. Because I'll talk about this in another video, but if you're kind of beating yourself up because you haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve, then that's just going to make you feel worse, and it's not going to make you feel motivated. So celebrate small wins, even if it's getting out of bed and having a shower. That for a depressed person, that can be a victory for the day. And I think you need to start, going from breakdown to functioning well. Still not functioning 100%, but for me, functioning really well. I mean, I had a follow up with my doctor last week, and he sort of said, "Where would you put yourself just now?" And I was like in the 90s, sort of percent wise, so that's good. For me, like 100% would be where I'm managing to get going earlier in the day, get to the gym earlier, and get more stuff done. The earlier you get up and get started, the more you usually get done. So, but as I said before, part of the issue with that is that, if you're working till late at night, it's more difficult to get going early in the day. So, um, things are a big problem when you're not even motivated by desperation, and that's where I was at breakdown. That is part of the definition of breakdown, is that um you can't look after yourself, you can't cater to your basic needs. So even though, when I was living in the Land Rover, even though, it was like, I mean, I was selling stuff to get money to live on, because I had hoped to be able to do some jobs on cars to keep me going while I was doing the restorations on the cars. And this is all on my YouTube channel as well, and the Bulletproof Camper videos, probably where I'm talking about that. So I won't talk about that, but um, yeah, I mean, even though I got to the point that even though I didn't know how I was going to buy, more food to eat or whatever, I just didn't have the motivation to do anything. I couldn't make myself do anything, and that's a pretty big red flag, if you get to that point. And as I've said before, I think there's a point that for me anyway, that I could reach where there's not really any way out of it without medication, without effective medication, because if your brain's not working properly, there's always things that we can be doing to try and do better. Um, but I think for me anyway, there is a point where there's no way out of it, and you need your brain to be working better to be able to kind of capitalize on that, and move kind of forward and move upwards from there. So I would say, if you're not feeling motivated, think of motivation as a luxury and just try and do it anyway. If you are feeling motivated, then make the most of it, and achieve as much as you can, but don't burn yourself out, because it can be tempting when you've got lots of motivation to just go crazy and do loads and loads and loads and loads and do too much and burn yourself out. So there's kind of a happy medium somewhere between not doing anything and doing too much, so that you then make yourself feel worse again. So hopefully none of you are in the situation where you have desperation as a motivator. I don't think that's a healthy place to be for too long. I think it's a natural place to be at times if circumstances mean that you're in that sort of position where you're desperate, you have to do something, and that motivates you. But I think inspiration's a far better motivator. So I think it's helpful to know what inspires you, and I think that at times when you're depressed, it might be more difficult to figure that out. One way of figuring that out would be to do journaling, as I've talked about before. So just open up a notepad on your phone, write the date, and start writing and see what comes out. You might just be writing about how you feel. You might be writing about what's good, what's upsetting you, whatever, what you think you might want out of life, things like that. It's a good way of unloading. I think the most helpful thing is probably talking to somebody who knows the right questions to ask. Somebody that knows the right questions to ask you to help you figure things out is gold. Unfortunately, when you talk to people, there's definitely a place for giving advice, but unfortunately, sometimes when you talk to people, they'll just kind of give you, advice, and they don't really understand your situation, and particularly if it's somebody who's not depressed, because they'll just say, "Oh, we'll just do this," and you're like, yeah, that's easy for you, but you've never been here, so you don't understand. So yeah, think about what you could be inspired about. What could you be excited about? You know, what would you really love to do? Um, one of the things that I used as a motivator when I was younger and really up into my late 30s was the next fast car that I wanted. And that was definitely something that motivated me, because I love fast cars. It's never been about having this car or having that car. I really don't care. I just like going fast. So that's definitely a motivator for me. And I'm going to use that motivator in my upcoming car YouTube series, which I'm not saying too much about just now. And I'm only mentioning that because I've just mentioned fast cars. So you'll see how I use something that I like as a motivator to make me do stuff that would be more difficult to do if I didn't have that inspirational goal. So I hope you kind of get where I'm coming from. I hope that you're not relying on desperation for motivation. I hope you realize that motivation is a luxury. You can reframe the way that you look at it. Don't wait to be motivated, just act anyway. Um, and yeah, it's easier said than done, but it's the same for me, and I do it. So you just have to do as much as you can, and be grateful for what you managed to do, and be kind to yourself. But usually, I think you will find that if you follow the kind of simple steps of trying to do something, of acknowledging what you've done, of developing a sense of achievement instead of thinking about what you haven't done, which is negative, then that should help to move towards being more productive, feeling more happy, feeling more motivated, and feeling like you're working towards something. And there's lots of things it could be. As I spoke about exercise in the last video, I mean, maybe something that you really want to do is to change your body, in some way, to make it bigger or smaller, or put on more muscle or be more toned. Well, there's your inspiration, there's your motivator to go to the gym. I mean, I've literally visualized while absolutely hanging on the treadmill, visualized what I want my body to look like, and that's what keeps me going when my brain's saying, okay, that's enough, stop. Because your brain wants to give up a lot long before your body actually needs to. But again, don't do any exercise without consulting your doctor. I have to say this. And make sure that what you're doing is safe and healthy. And if you're not sure about how to exercise, then definitely speak to somebody who knows, like a qualified PT. Again, I'm not doing one-to-one PT stuff just now, but there will be stuff coming up in the future. So I hope that's helpful to you. Just a kind of short video motivation. Version 1, there probably will be, probably will do more videos as I kind of think about more or learn more, or think about something that I could have said and I didn't. But that in a nutshell is the way that I see motivation, and targets, goals, inspiration, vision, visualization, belief, faith that you can do things differently, faith that you can get to where you want to be, knowing where you want to get to be, knowing where you want to be. All these kind of things, I think, are the important factors. So I hope that this has been helpful to you in some way. And if you do enjoy watching my videos or find them helpful, then please share them so that other people can find them as well, and consider subscribing to my channel. I'm still working towards my first 500 subscribers, and when I do get there, I'll be able to use more tools on YouTube, such as putting up polls to ask you what might be helpful to talk about. So take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and I hope that you can find a way to get more done, and find a way to feel motivation more often, which is by making the start. If you're not doing great just now, then hang in there. Been there many times. Could have given up, and I didn't. I'm really glad I didn't. And you know, cliche to say, but you really never know what's around the corner, and you can't trust your feelings when you feel, you know, when you're really depressed. You can't trust your feelings. You can't trust your thoughts. The priority has to be getting back to being in a good place, and you're probably going to need help to do that. So don't be ashamed to go and talk to a mental health professional, your GP, NHS24, the Samaritans, whoever. Just talk to someone. You deserve to be happy as much as anyone else. Okay, take care, and I will see you in the next video.